Welcome to our last live of writing. We're going to finish our story right now, and we don't have a minute to spare because we're getting ready to do our editing. So I'm not going to read the whole story again right now. We're just going to start. What are we? Our last illustration. We'll start with our last illustration. Normally, I would not do it like this, but because this has been me sort of experimenting with a new way to do things. So our last illustration that I wrote about was this one. So this one, the words for this one, illustration number 21, is I call it Ladies Under Fairy Lights up there. And I'm just writing in on my iPad in Notes. No special program. Okay, so I'll read this one and then we'll go on to write our next. The warmth from the fairy lights fell down on her face. She looked all around. She felt out of place. As long as she could remember, they were always her friends. Seasons keep spinning. The fun never ends. She thought of her new friend. What would she be doing? She'd want her to be happy. She'd want her to be going. To follow her dreams, she thought with great might. Then she drank pumpkin juice and danced in the night. She thought or she felt. She thought or she felt. She felt with great might. To follow her dreams, she thought. Friends, true friends, want the best for each other. No sadness should enter when you care for another. That's that one. Okay, this is our next illustration. So this is illustration 22. We're going to call this one Wrapping the Book. Okay. And you might see little messages coming up on the screen. We are planning tomorrow night. We're going to go see the movie, The New Haunted Mansion. And so we're going to have a little party. Okay, so this illustration I love. It's super simple. Super simple. I'm not changing it. So this is, I'm going to get those words off of there, because I think they just like mess my mind up when I look at them. So Maggie McGee is back. Maggie McGee, while back in her room. Wrapped a small present Maggie McGee, while back in her room, wrapped a small present Maggie McGee, while back in her room, wrapped a small present. Wrapped a small package. No, it has to be a present. Wrapped a small present. Back in her. While home in her place. Wrapped a small present with a smile on her face. She had written 2 books with the same, this word might change, with the same story. One Maggie-sized No. She had written 2 books with the same story. She had written 2 books with the same story. One Maggie size, the other story. No, there's too many words that don't rhyme with story that I'm looking for. The other. So sometimes, especially when I'm rhyming, no matter what I'm writing, song, book, whatever, just poetry, whatever, Maggie McGee, while home in her place, wrapped a small present with a smile on her face. She had written 2 books, da-da-da-da-da, one Maggie size, the other quite small. Because now, small, she had written 2 books. Oh, about their fall. One Maggie, about this past fall. One Maggie size, the other quite small. So yeah, I'll read back through and it just helps it happen. Maggie McGee, while home in her place, wrapped a small present with a smile on her face. She had written 2 books about this past fall, one Maggie-sized, the other quite small. The tiniest book you ever have seen with a candy bar wrapper. Seen clean. Didn't see clean. You ever did see. I cannot wait to get to the Dragon with Bell Tower. Like, by the end of the story, when you're writing and you're rhyming, you're thinking, I want to say the words. But you want the flow to happen. This is, I love this method, though. This is very effective, but I'm going to start at the start again. Maggie McGee, while home in her place, wrapped a small present with a smile on her face. See, Maggie's happy. That tells us Maggie's happy. She had written 2 books about this past fall. One Maggie size, the other quite small. The tiniest book you ever did see, with a candy bar wrapper. Oh my gosh, I forgot the words. Why didn't I write them before I started talking? That's why it's best to write on your own. But I want to show you this process. Don't lose your train of thought. Write things down. Write them down. You think it's going to be in your head, you're going to keep it. The tiniest book you ever did see, with a candy bar wrapper. I'm leaving that part off right now. That part can come in the next paragraph. The tiniest book you ever did see. Both the same story. Story about the great tree. All of the magic they both felt together, painting the leaves while the seasons changed weather. Okay, reread. Maggie McGee, while home in her place, wrapped a small present with a smile on her face. She had written 2 books about this past fall, one Maggie size, the other quite small. The tiniest book you ever did see, both the same story about the great tree. All of the magic they both felt together, painting the leaves while the seasons changed weather. it was all captured in this wee handmade book. Maggie had made it. It had an old look. I might change that. Sometimes it flows and sometimes it sort of flows. That was a sort of flow. I gotta read it again. The wrapping, what she used. Have we talked about the paper at all? No, just that she's wrapping a small present. What she used for wrapping. I gotta think about this. This candy wrapper. I like the idea of using a candy wrapper because it's from Halloween. Halloween was now over. The only thing that remained was a chocolate scented wrapper. Halloween was now over. The only thing that remained was a chocolate scented wrapper that she'd reuse again. Wait, does remain and again rhyme? Not really. Remained. The only thing that was here was a chocolate scented wrapper that she'd use to I want to have it that the Halloween candy and sometimes you just sound things out, say things out, and then just write. And I'm not looking at the screen right now because you are my beautiful distraction, all my friends on TikTok Live. And if you're writing up things right now, I'm gonna look at them and I'm gonna get stuck. Halloween candy finished. The only with only one wrapper. No. Paper. Halloween candy finished. I like this one. From her last trick or treat. Maggie used no, I don't need to say Maggie again. Using a paper, using a wrapper. Treat from her last Halloween candy finish from her last trick or treat. Using a wrapper. She wrapped it quite neat. The tiny book held so much. They had learned from each other. need to do that. I just said about it was captured. I don't need to talk about the book anymore. Don't need to be the words are too little and precise. I'm going to start at the top because I think now we're going to take Maggie out of her room and delivering her present. Maggie McGee, while home in her place, wrapped a small wrapper with a smile on her face. She had written 2 books about this past fall, one Maggie-sized, the other quite small. The tiniest book you ever did see, both the same story about the great tree. I need to have "and" here. No, I don't need. All of the magic they both felt together, painting the leaves while the seasons changed weather. It was all captured in this wee handmade book. Maggie had made it. It had an old look. Halloween candy finished from her last trick-or-treat. Using a wrapper, she wrapped it quite neat. Using a paper. Using a chocolate scented paper. It needs to be a wrapper. Using a wrapper. Using a candy wrapper. Halloween candy finish from her last trick-or-treat. See, using a wrapper, she wrapped it quite neat. I don't like to say wrap and then wrapped, even though it's wrapper and wrapped. Too different. I kind of want to... Halloween candy finish from her last trick-or-treat. Reusing a... I don't want to say candy again either. Reusing a wrapper. Reusing a paper. She wrapped it quite neat. We can do this. We can do this, and I know how. I know how. We'll let the picture tell part of our story. So I'm gonna just do a little C. A. N. You know where I'm going with this. D. Y. Now we'll know it's a candy wrapper. Candy. And I might even say crumpled. I might put the word crumpled. I'm going to put a couple little stars here so that word doesn't look like it's just stuck out and weird. All stars here actually. These don't need to be perfect. So now we see it's candy. We can see that it's candy. Okay. Halloween candy finished from her last trick-or-treat. A crinkled old paper. A crinkled old paper. She wrapped it quite neat. Then grabbing her coat out her door, she went, rushed up the mountain, grabbing her coat out the door, she went, rushed up the mountain, went, sent, spent, lent, dent, rent, grabbing her coat, and stepping outside, rushed up the mountain, but she had to hide. Her small friend was coming along the tree ridge. She laid down the present, then in the bushes she hid. That's it. I love that, and I just gave myself chills. I love this. Maggie McGee, while home in her place, wrapped a small present with a smile on her face. She had written 2 books about this past fall, one Maggie-sized, the other quite small. The tiniest book you ever did see, both the same story about the great tree. All of the magic they both felt together, painting the leaves while the seasons changed weather. It was all captured in this wee handmade book. Maggie had made it. It had an old look. Halloween candy finished from her last trick-or-treat. That tells us she's not going to trick-or-treat again. This was her last year trick-or-treating. Halloween candy finished from her last trick-or-treat. A crinkled old paper, she wrapped it quite neat. Then grabbing her coat and stepping outside, rushed up the mountain. She rushed up the mountain. Maybe I should call her Maggie one more time. Maggie rushed up the mountain. Rushed up the mountain, but she had to hide. Her small friend was coming along the tree ridge. She laid down the present, then in the bushes she hid. Then grabbing her coat and stepping outside, Maggie rushed up the mountain, but then she had to hide. Her small friend was coming along the tree ridge. She laid down the present, then in the bushes she hid. Okay, so this is going to be illustration 23. Illustration 23. I can't write that yet. I need one more thing. Maggie knew if she saw her, that the tears would just flow. They had said their goodbyes. She had just to go. Yep. Okay, illustration 23 is lady reading book. Seeing a lump upon present upon, have I used we lately? I love the word we. I'm looking for we, looking for we, looking for we. Did I call it a we book? No. The warmth and the fair. Thinking of you, home no place, wrapped a small present with a smile on her face. She read 2 books. No, I did not use the word we. Yay. Oh no, we handmade book. I did. Okay, seeing her present upon steps. Seeing a present. Lady of the Leaves. Had danced herself home. Though her heart was sad. No, she's not sad anymore. Lady of the Leaves had danced herself home. Now, looking at a present, she was quite alone. Lifting the package from her front stair. Wait, could it be called a staircase or steps? No, her front steps. Lifting the package outside of her door. She looked all around and smiled just once more. She could feel, I'm gonna cry, she could feel her friend watching, though she couldn't quite see. She knew she was hiding right under her tree. With the book safe inside, her leaves were all settled. Pajamas were on, and so was her kettle. She tucked herself in with a nice cup of tea. Then she unwrapped her present. Her gift. Then she started to read. Her eyes, they grew tired. she'd done this forever. Autumn was finished. Trying to think of a word. Her eyes, they grew tired. Autumn was over. Autumn had ended. She'd done this forever. And she always pretended. Reading the last page. In this special reading the last page, blowing out the light. She rolled on her side. I gotta start at the start of this one again. Lady of the Leaves had danced herself home. Now looking at a present, she was quite alone. Now looking at a present, now spying a present. Now spying a present. Though she was quite alone. No, just she was quite alone. Lady of the Leaves had danced herself home. Now spying a present, she was quite alone. P.S. This is a spoiler. This is going to be the very last of the book. If you don't want to hear it, jump off the live. I got one page left to write, and it's finished. So if you don't want to hear it, don't hang about. I will still love you, even though you go out. I can't stop rhyming now. Lady of the Leaves had danced herself home. Now spying a present, she was quite alone. Lifting the package outside of her door, she looked all around, then smiled once more. She could feel her friend watching, though she couldn't quite see. She knew she was hiding right under her tree. With the book safe inside, her leaves were all settled, pajamas were on, and so was her kettle. She tucked herself in with a nice cup of tea. Then she unwrapped her gift. Then she started to read. Her eyes, they grew tired. Autumn had ended. She'd done this forever. She always pretended. That the world went to sleep when she blew out her light. But now she knows it goes on. Her eyes, they grew tired. Autumn had ended. She'd done this forever, and she always pretended that the world went to sleep when she blew out her light. But now she knows it goes on. And it seems really right. That's that one. Okay, this is it. Last illustration, 24 should be, yes, 24. And I'm going to call this one First Snow of Winter. And this is what we're looking at. I got to finish a cardinal, but I'm not going to finish it just now because I need to just finish writing this. The world went to sleep when she blew out her light. Oh, she always pretended. Okay. Her eyes grew tired. Autumn had ended. She'd done this forever, and she always pretended that the world went to sleep when she blew out her light, but now she knows it goes on, and it seems really right. The village had... No, not the village, just Maggie. Maggie had... Maggie rised early. Rised. Wait, rised. Rised is a word, isn't it? Rised? Isn't that how you spell it? Maggie rised early? What's wrong with that? Maggie rises early. No. I don't know. She's risen. I guess risen. Rose early. That would be the word. Maggie rose early. Maggie rose early on that first snowy day. Just a dusting, it seemed, had chased autumn away. Putting her book heading up the hill with her book in her hand. She sat under the big tree. Snow covered the land. In the spring, she would leave here to head for Japan. Wait, does anything rhyme with Japan? Japan. She'd be heading far east. She'd be heading far east. The village east. I think she'd be heading away. I don't need to say any of that other stuff. We've implied it. In the spring she would leave here, she'd be heading away. She read all her pages. Day. Oh, she sat there. She stayed there all day. Friendships come and they Friendships come and go, people stay and they leave. But this one is special. Maggie had to believe. She didn't know how. She didn't know when. Yet she knew in her heart that they'd meet again. And inside the tree, sweet lady, she slept while outside in the snow. I can't write this. Maggie quietly wept. Maybe it might have to be that way. She knows she'll meet it. Yeah, might have to be that way. Might not stay that way, but it has to meet that way. I mean, it has to be that way. Oi, my. Okay, so now I'm gonna go live at 5. I'm gonna close this up. I gotta close this up. We'll read through, we'll edit. We're going to get into the publishing. I'm going to call that done. Gosh, there's only 19 people here. I wonder if everybody jumped off because I said go away. So right here, now this is dry. I'm going to put some of these little whites right here. Just a couple. Not a lot. Just a couple. That's enough. But I'm going to take black. We gotta make the cardinal's nose, or his little bit around his face. Just a little bit of black. This guy isn't in great detail. I'm gonna just put a little black right there too. Little eyes right there, but we probably can't see it. Just going to put a little black right here for his wing. A couple little black tail feathers. Whew. That's the end. I'm going to show these to you backwards because in the very next one, we're going to look at them in the correct order. I'm going to read through the story and we're going to start the publishing process. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have. I really hope you have. I'm going to be back on it 5 live to finish this up. So actually I'm not going to show you the whole thing. I'm just going to show you. That's what we just wrote. Those 3 pages. That's the end of it. I'm super emotional. I'm going to go read this. Well, I'm not going to read it one time over. I'm going to open this again when we come back here. So thanks for being here, everybody. I hope that you've been enjoying this, and I will see you just a little bit. Bye.